No one noticed the humans at first, and that was exactly the point. The Galactic Assembly Hall was built to be seen, a colossal bowl of power where status was measured by proximity to the central dais. The closer you sat, the more important you were assumed to be. The farther back, the less you mattered. So when humanity joined the council and calmly requested the final tier, the backmost row, it caused quiet amusement. New species often misunderstood etiquette. This one clearly did. Or so everyone thought. My name is Kaelrix, Senior Procedural Observer, tasked with monitoring council behavior and ensuring order. From my station, I watch delegations arrive in their predictable hierarchies. The dominant species filled the lower tiers, spreading banners, guards, and ceremonial displays. Mid-ranked powers positioned themselves carefully, close enough to matter but far enough to avoid notice. The upper tiers remained mostly empty, reserved for aides, analysts, and those who preferred to watch rather than speak. That was where the humans sat. 5 of them. No banners. No display of wealth. No visible guards beyond their own stillness. Ambassador Elias Grant sat at the center, relaxed, hands folded. His aide, Dr. Lena Moore, held a slim data slate, her attention divided between the chamber and quiet streams of information. 3 others flanked them, posture neutral, eyes active. They didn't look impressed. They didn't look intimidated. They looked prepared. When asked if there had been a mistake, Grant smiled politely and declined a seat change. The back works for us, he said. No explanation. No justification. As proceedings began, disputes unfolded as they always did. Territorial claims. Trade violations. Carefully worded threats disguised as policy concerns. The front tiers spoke loudly, projecting authority. The middle tiers reacted. The back tiers listened. Except the humans weren't listening the way others did. They weren't focused on speakers alone. Their gazes moved constantly, tracking entrances, reactions, subtle shifts in posture. While others watched the performance, the humans watched the room itself. I noticed it because it was my job to notice patterns. And the pattern was clear. Every few moments, one human would murmur something, another would nod, a third would adjust their focus. Silent coordination. Quiet assessment. It struck me then that the humans hadn't chosen the back row because they were unsure of their place. They had chosen it because from there, nothing was hidden. And in a chamber built on appearances, seeing everything was a rare and dangerous advantage. The first sign of trouble came during what should have been a routine arbitration. Voices rose, accusations sharpened, and old rivalries resurfaced with dangerous enthusiasm. Most delegates were too focused on winning the argument to notice how quickly the atmosphere shifted. The humans noticed immediately. One of them leaned forward slightly. Another's hand moved, subtle, deliberate. Ambassador Grant did not stand. He didn't need to. From the back row, they had already mapped the room. I felt it before I understood it, that instinctive tightening that precedes chaos. A junior delegate from a volatile species stood without recognition, his movements stiff, rehearsed. My secondary vision caught a glint of metal as his appendage moved toward a concealed pouch. Security protocols should have triggered alarms. They didn't. Too much noise. Too many voices. The humans moved anyway. It was not dramatic. There was no shout, no display meant to impress. One moment they were seated. The next they were everywhere. One intercepted the delegate before the weapon cleared its housing. Another positioned himself between the central dais and the crowd. The third cut off the nearest exit, not aggressively, simply occupying space that suddenly could not be crossed. The weapon never fired. The entire incident lasted seconds. When it ended, the human who had disarmed the delegate calmly passed the device to council security and returned to his seat. Ambassador Grant finally stood, smoothing his jacket as if apologizing for a minor disruption. "Apologies," he said evenly. "We identified a developing security risk." Silence followed, heavy and absolute. Species who moments ago had been posturing now stared upward toward the back row. Council security arrived late, confused, embarrassed. The humans offered full cooperation, detailed timelines, even estimated response delays. Everything had been measured. In the recess that followed, whispers spread faster than official reports. Questions replaced ridicule. How had the humans seen the threat? Why had they reacted faster than trained security forces? Why from the back row? I approached them afterward, unable to suppress my curiosity. Grant listened patiently as I asked the question everyone else was thinking. "Why sit so far away from power?" I asked. Dr. Moore answered without looking up from her slate. "Because power advertises itself. Information doesn't." She gestured toward the chamber. From the front you see speakers. From the middle you see rivals. From the back you see patterns. Grant smiled, but there was no humor in it. Front row seats are for being seen, he said. We prefer seats that let us see. When the session resumed, the tone had changed. Arguments softened. Movements were more restrained. Every delegate knew now that someone was watching from above, someone who didn't need attention to be effective. And slowly, without any announcement, the center of gravity in the chamber began to shift. By the third session, the back rows were no longer empty. Delegations that once fought for visibility now quietly requested higher tiers. They brought guards, analysts, equipment, attempting to replicate the human arrangement. It didn't work. They copied the position, not the purpose. The humans remained unchanged. Same seats. Same numbers. Same calm awareness. While others tried to watch for threats, the humans watched for meaning. Who whispered when certain topics arose. Who avoided eye contact. Who reacted too quickly or not quickly enough. They weren't predicting violence anymore. They were predicting decisions. When a trade coalition collapsed days later, the humans were unsurprised. When a hidden alliance surfaced during negotiations, they already had the data. They shared information sparingly, precisely, at moments when it could not be ignored. Each time the council benefited. Each time humanity asked for nothing in return. That unsettled many. Power in the galaxy had always been loud. Declared. Displayed. Defended. Human power was quiet, conditional, and deeply uncomfortable because it was based on understanding rather than force. I was present when the Chancellor finally asked the question that had been circling every mind. What do humans want from this council? Ambassador Grant considered carefully before answering. To know whether it works, he said. Whether it protects the vulnerable. Whether truth matters more than position. And if it doesn't? The Chancellor asked. Grant didn't threaten. He didn't posture. He simply met the Chancellor's gaze. Then we'll know that too. The implication settled like a shadow. Humans were not here to climb the hierarchy. They were here to evaluate it. From a place where the whole system was visible. In the weeks that followed, cooperation improved. Information flowed more freely. Fewer surprises turned into disasters. The back row became a place of intent rather than neglect. The humans stayed. When I asked Grant if they ever planned to move forward, he shook his head. Why would we? He said. From here we can see who's honest, who's afraid, and who's pretending. He paused, then added, and if something goes wrong, we'll see it coming. That was when the galaxy finally understood. Humans didn't sit at the back because they were weak. They sat there because the back row was where the truth revealed itself first. And once you learned how to see from there, no front row seat could ever compete.